Hi friends! Baldur's Gate 3 gave us tons of companions to do their story with. And as grateful as I am to play this masterful game with all these characters with touching and strongly written backstories, I want more, and I'll always want more. I think they had that idea too, because a lot of the people who join you and your wormy-brained friends were actually originally written to be part of your campaign. A lot of characters started out as possible companions. Sadly, due to time restraints, money, and probably 1,000 other reasons, they had to drop a few. But that doesn't stop me from wondering what could have happened. So here's my list of the top 5 NPCs I wish I could make one of my companions. Some of you might know this, but Cleric Thorm was actually supposed to be one of your companions. It's supposed to be optional. You're supposed to be given the choice to convince him to switch sides and help you defeat the Elder Brain. There's remnants of this choice in the game still. If you go through his room, read all his notes and his letters, especially the one that came from his wife, the next 2 times you talk, you'll have the ability to give him the option to surrender, and he will surrender both times. Unfortunately, because things decided to change for them and he's no longer able to be a companion, those surrenders never really quite hit right. But you're able to avoid like an entire fight with him if you convince him to surrender both those times. He would have been a really interesting companion to have, especially with his story. Ability wise, he's nothing super special. He'll probably continue the incubate death ability and probably be able to cast create undead once a day. On honor mode, they gave him a new weapon attack skill called Horde Strike, and it's a big, really strong 48 attack. I just think it'd been really interesting to hear what your companions would have to say to you for agreeing to have him come sleep with you guys back at the camp, but unfortunately, we'll never get to know. Another character that was supposed to be one of our companions unfortunately got left on the floor. Alfira the Bard was supposed to join us on our adventure, but sadly, they chose to murk her as the Dark Urge. I feel like this was the easiest one they could have kept, but funny enough, even though they put so much into her to be possibly a companion with you guys, her character as is doesn't have any bard levels. She can't inspire anybody. She can't cast any first level bard spells. She's kind of just a common person with a lute. So close though, we almost got her as a companion. When patch 6 came out and they gave us the option to swap out characters without having to go talk to them and make them leave the party first, data miners found additional voice lines for Alfira. Voice lines that would have come out when you let her into the party and you were kicking someone else out, or if your party was full. She's so much not like everyone else, I feel like it would have made a really dynamic fit. Also, another fun fact, Quill, her dragonborn other, has literally everything that Alfira has. She has her tiefling fire resistance, she has her hellish rebuke racial ability, and she doesn't have a breath weapon or any of her other dragonborn stuff. She's literally a carbon copy of Alfira, but slapped as a dragonborn. I think that's hilarious. This one's kind of a personal opinion, but I think Bacchus would be a really cool companion. I mean, they put him so much into the game that he has a better companion storyline than Halsin does. I mean, as much as I love Daddy Halsin, he might as well not even be there in Act 3. All he does is complain about the pollution or whatever. Bacchus not only joins your camp, he has a full story break each act. But the number one reason why I'd want Bacchus to be in the campaign is that there are no short companions. I would have really enjoyed a gnome or a halfling or a dwarf companion, mostly to take advantage of the racial only equipment that you would only be able to use if you made Tav a dwarf or a gnome, or, you know, abused disguise self, but that's too much work. You can give Bacchus the nimble finger gloves, give him a 22 AC. He'd probably come with some kind of explosion personal ability, like throwing bombs or something. Like, I feel like they could have made him a really cool companion. The next one's actually a twofer, so I'm gonna mix these two together because I feel like you can't have Isabel or Aelin without having the other, unless the other is... Both of them are rad as hell from the start. Isabel less so than Aelin. Isabel's cool only abilities are actually given to her because of her robes. The Moon Devotion robes are dope. They let you cast this makeshift mage armor skill called Lunar Bulwark. It works the same way as mage armor does, but it does additional D4 radiant damage to anyone that tries to cast a spell on you and fails. Lets you cast Produce Flame, but let you use your Wisdom for it instead of Intelligence. +1 to all your saving throws. Gives you advantage to all your Constitution saving throws. It totally kicks ass. So, in hindsight, you could just make your character kind of look like her and then jack her robes. But Aelin is all by herself. First off, she can't die. If she KOs in battle, she'll just get back up. Lunar Blessing lets her just move around inside of a moonbeam. She has a level 2 guiding bolt called Lunar Flare that's actually an AoE. And not to mention all of the Paladin of Redemption skills like Abjure Enemy. Like, she's totally badass. And then partway into like Act 3, she kind of just says, oh, I'll see you later. You fight with her like 3 times in the campaign. I don't understand why they can't just nerf the live forever part and then just have her tag along. Fun fact about Aelin you probably don't know is that she was originally supposed to be a boss fight, or like an optional boss fight. There's a really old early development model for her that looks nothing like she looks now, and it would have been really cool to actually get a chance to fight her. If I can't have her fight with me, fighting her would be a close second. Nine Fingers Keen is so absolutely unnecessarily badass. If you're watching my videos, you probably know that I love throwing builds and I dislike playing Barbarian. She has so many passive abilities that helps her basically be a surgeon with the throwing knife that I'm absolutely jealous I can't choose them for my Tav. So besides being a rogue thief, having all the dope abilities a rogue thief has, like 2 bonus actions, all that cool stuff, she has something called Dagger Specialist, which is a passive ability that lets her throw 3 daggers around. And another passive ability called Dagger Thrower that lets her add her proficiency bonus twice to the damage of every thrown knife. And that makes me very jealous. And we're not done. Isolated Prey lets her get advantage to hit somebody if they're not surrounded by any other people. So when I test builds, one of my favorite tests to do is to see how well they solo attacking everybody in the Thief Guild Hall. And this chick is a monster, dude. She just completely annihilates people in 1 turn. If she has advantage to hit you, you're fucked. Just how it is. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. Do you agree with me or do you think I'm wrong? Well, yell at me about it in the comments. What NPCs do you think would have been better companions than these guys? I'm also trying to do a new type of intro where I'd answer a question you guys have for me. I've been asked a few times to do an AMA. I think this would be a fun way to just incorporate everyone's question in kind of like a shout out. So if you have questions about me, D&D, Baldurs Gate, or whatever, put them in the comments. I'd love to answer them and put you guys in the intro. And I really want to thank all my sponsors, but especially those guys right there. Everybody in the Adventure tier or higher on the YouTube membership list get put in the end credits, and they also get put into a raffle that pulls every week. Jake Geller got a pair of shorts, Aaron got a pair of shorts, and Zero Style got a pair of shorts yesterday. I'm like the weirdest Santa Claus with these $30 pairs of shorts, like just getting rid of them. I really like them. I've heard nothing but good things about them as well from everyone who's got one. And yeah, that's it. Bye everybody. Love you.